Today, I am pleased to provide an updated scorecard of the efforts of the people's elected government to consolidate the mechanisms and system of governance. In this way, we can ensure a more efficient, sensitive, and sensible response to the people's agenda as determined on February 16, 2015. An important and most positive development occurred on the 14th of May 2015 with Her Majesty's appointment of Mr. Tapley Seaton, CVO QC, as our Federation's acting Governor-General. This appointment has been heralded at home and abroad as a most eminent choice. In our constitutional democracy, the Governor-General is head of state and de facto head of the Parliament with powers of assent and denial vested in him. Equally true, the Governor-General exercises power on behalf of Her Majesty. The thoughtful and consultative approach of the people's government to matters of state has allowed us to secure the services of an illustrious son of the soil for what we anticipate will be yeoman's service to our nation. I must repeat the point that we have here a 5-year contract with the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, not 5 days, nor 5 months. The reasonable people of the land know the Herculean task that we face in order to put our country right. They, in the main, want their elected government to be deliberate, to think through the issues, act decisively, and in the country's best interests. We have been doing just that with our own style, unique tone, and deeper appreciation of the sensitive issues which we confront, and with the people's agenda, first and foremost, above all else. We have been doing so, recognizing that we are the government for all, not for some people, but for all. That was our platform message. We were neither going to be a PAM government, a PLP government, nor a CCM government. We were going to be a government for all and a government of national unity. We have been doing this, and we continue to do so with honor and justice on our side. And this government has delivered like no new government has in its first 100 days. Major promises made, major promises kept. So major they are that they deserve repeating every day. The burdensome VAT of 17% removed completely from food, from medicine and funeral expenses, bringing relief to all shoppers, whatever their standing in society. $16 million secured to pay former sugar workers who were disinherited from their due after years of hard work in the sugar industry. Not 1 cent of that 16 million will come from the public coffers. 10 million to the Nevis Island administration as budgetary support with a commitment to its equitable due going forward. Those who lost the elections are outraged. Outraged that the federal government has brought an end to the anachronistic approach of all for St. Kitts and none for Nevis. We, within the short of less than 100 days, rescued the Carifta Games, not 1 cent budgeted for those. We rescued CPL, some 20 million unbudgeted expenditure. We had to deal with that. And we dealt with that in the best interest of the country. Because one choice was to do nothing, let it lapse. How dare any government serious about the fiscal management of the country enter into commitments of $20 million and not 1 cent recorded in the budget for the year of implementation. In the short period in which we were there, what others failed to do, we have done. So we honored Kim Collins and gave him his rightful recognition and distinction in the land of his birth. And the people brought this new sense of civility to the government and governance. The fresh breeze is blowing, and it is indeed for Team Unity and this country a marvelous fresh start. And it will only get better because we are consolidating the people's government. We are truly working for the people, and we are encouraged by our success, and we want to do more. To do more, we need the right people at the right places, and of course, we need God on our side. We need new leadership at our embassies and missions and consulates abroad. Today, I can report that our unity government has made a number of nominations to fill vacancies in these offices. In that regard, Cabinet has agreed to the following diplomatic appointments. Mr. Sam Kanda, to be designated Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, will be our representative to the United Nations. This appointment will fill, of course, the vacancy created by the resignation of Mr. Delano Bart QC. Mr. Kanda, a former Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, has what it takes to commence this assignment and to deliver results from day one. There are several important issues on the United Nations agenda, and with Mr. Kanda's leadership, we expect excellent results. Dr. Thelma Philip Brown is being designated Ambassador to the United States of America, USA. She will be resident in Washington, D.C. Dr. Brown is a well-known medical practitioner and dermatologist with a wide range of experience in the delivery of health services. She is a professional woman who will make a difference in our diplomacy with our most significant international partner, the United States of America. In addition, Dr. Everson Hall is designated as Ambassador to the Organization of American States. Dr. Hall is an academic whose extensive work in the field of economics has cemented his value to the Nevis Island administration in the area of economic policy formulation. Ms. Shirley Skerritt is a career diplomat formerly attached to the OECS missions and embassies in Brussels. She has been confirmed as High Commissioner to Canada, based in Ottawa. Verna Morris is a career Foreign Service officer, and she has been assigned to Cuba as Chargé d'Affaires. Ms. Morris has served in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for over 10 years. She is a graduate of the universities of Cuba and Mexico. Her appointment will fill the void created there by the recall of Ambassador Douglas. The Honourable Mark Brantley, in consultation with the Prime Minister and Cabinet, will in due course bring closure to the other necessary appointments. Some civil service appointments of note. Mr. Osmond Petty is recommended to serve as Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security. Mr. Petty is a former Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He currently serves as Force Personnel Officer. Mr. Petty's task as Permanent Secretary will, among other things, involve coordinating and bringing successful completion to a number of EU projects related to security. Indeed, the 10th EDF cycle has been devoted to security matters in St. Kitts. To deliver a modern rehabilitation and correctional facility to replace the outdated prison built in 1840 or thereabout, and to pursue rigorous reform agenda in our police, our prison, our fire, and defense force. The appointment of Mr. Petty now facilitates the proper implementation of the following legislative instruments and organs for which the Permanent Secretary with responsibility for national security is required to be a member. A, the Defense Force Act, the National Defense Council Act, Chapter 19.20, the National Crimes Commission Act. Of course, to further address our crime-fighting agenda, I intend to appoint a National Security Advisor. Again, this is in fulfillment of the statutory requirement of Section 4 of the National Defense Councils Act. The brief point to be made in our all-out effort to track and reduce crime, we cannot have any legislation related to safety and security not being implemented. And that is why we are attempting now to correct those areas of deficiencies. Moreover, the National Crimes Commission will be activated to facilitate, among other things, community involvement in the fight against crime. The security and safety of St. Kitts and Nevis are basic responsibilities of the state. We inherited a very bad situation, a demoralized force which was under-resourced and lacking in the kind of motivational leadership required for the 21st century. We are working assiduously with international professional police out of the United Kingdom and elsewhere to help deal with the challenges of law and order. And after an initial period of fact-finding, we intend to pursue an extended engagement with specialists, expert support to complement our own local experience. I want to make the point that we are doing all this with the support and the active involvement of the High Command. These persons who have been secured, they were not secured by me. Hardly knew one of them. They were secured by the High Command of the force, using their contact and knowledge, having regard to their intimate knowledge of the security situation in the state. They determine their resource need. My job is to facilitate them in their efforts as resource mobilization. Our police must, by the end of this investment, by their teamwork, their energy, delivery, and professionalism, showcase the very best which I know reside within them, to the benefit of our people whom they are charged to serve and to protect. I wish to assure the public at this time that the issue of crime fighting is of paramount importance to our unity government. Ours will be a robust approach, thus inclusive for the first time of the employment to Nevis of a contingent of military personnel from the Defense Force. In other words, if you ask how far are we prepared to go to deal with the scourge of crime, we will go all the way. We will deploy all the resources at the disposal of the state to ensure the safety and security of residents and citizens alike. This additional manpower will assist the Nevis police with matters such as patrols, surveillance, and other general policing operations for several months. This joint approach to addressing crime will also redound to closer collaboration among our security forces on both islands. Thus far, we are already seeing results. And this morning I had an opportunity to speak with the Joint Command, Colonel Wallace, Commissioner Acting, and Liebert, Mr. Brandy from the Nevis end, ACPs, Henderson, and Quealy. And we had a very lively discussion about what was happening in relation to crime. The Assistant Commissioner for Crime, do I have it right, Mr. Quealy? Yeah. Mr. Quealy provided the statistics, which perhaps sometime he will want to present, which shows that all major crimes in the Federation for the comparative period 2013, 2014, 2015, the statistics reflect that they are down, save for the crime of murder. Crime then, according to the police statistics, have seen significant reduction, save for the issue of homicides. Those results are available, and they were made available to me for the first time this morning. So the other appointment which I want to make reference to is in relation to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where we have Ms. Kebas. Again, she is a career Foreign Service officer, and she is now being proposed as the acting permanent secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I want to congratulate her, as I would congratulate all the others who have been proposed for promotion. Ms. Maas worked with me when I served as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Quiet, calm, competent, able. She knows how to get the job done, and I think it is fitting that those who work hard should reap the good rewards. I compliment her as I compliment all others. Now, in order to bring reliable experience and qualified support to certain areas of government, we have also agreed, that is, the Cabinet has agreed, to a number of political appointments. Mr. Vernon Connor, for example, who is here, and I welcome him, has been serving as Special Advisor in the Ministry of Youth. I congratulate him and wish him well. He has been involved with young people, molding young people, shaping the lives of many of our citizens. And I know in this new assignment, coming after his last one as a teacher, he will serve us well. I am pleased equally to announce that Miss Lorna Hunkins has been serving as Special Advisor to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. We welcome her to this ministry, and we salute her nomination to this particular post. The Honourable Minister Mark Brantley has expressed confidence in her ability and capacity to help him take the ministry forward in collaboration with the rest of the staff. Mr. Sidney Osbald, a former technocrat in the public sector, perhaps he will be best remembered as an educator, has been named to head the Regional Integration Unit in the Office of the Prime Minister. He will then therefore be named Ambassador to CARICOM and will also have responsibility within the regional unit for OECS matters. It is with equal delight that I am pleased to announce that Mr. Michael Powell, Oliver Powell, he will serve as a special envoy in the office of the Prime Minister. Mr. Powell needs no special introduction. A man of vast experience in public life, in private sector engagement, had an illustrious career in tourism, in labor, etc., for a significant number of years, over the period 1980 and 95. And he lent his voice and his knowledge to the cause of unity, for which he made, and I make, no apology. But I want to thank him, and we hope that his experience would help us deliver for the people. These appointments are not about the individuals themselves, significant as they are. In my view and in our books, it is about how they will help the government take fuller charge and ensure that we deliver on the mandate. And the slogan we have adopted, working for you. It is about not their post and their rank. It's about the people's results. And that is what we are hoping to achieve. Equally, I am very happy to announce that Mr. John L. Powell, solicitor, barrister, lawyer, man of many parts and many talents, he has been designated as an ambassador and will serve as a special envoy in the Ministry of Sports and Culture. Mr. Powell, of course, has been an inspiration to many of us during the course of the campaign. And we hope that the vitality, the vibrancy, the knowledge, and the energy could all be harnessed to good use in that particular ministry. Mr. Powell, I welcome you and thank you for agreeing to serve. Other appointments will be announced in due course, as we are having significant consultations with a number of our citizens who we know have the ability to make the contribution. And as soon as we have fine-tuned those, we will make further announcement as an act of accountability, as an act of transparency, so the people must know who is operating in their name, in the name of the people. Not so much even in the name of the Team Unity government, in the name of the people, because we have committed that we shall put the people of St. Kitts and Nevis first, and that is what we have been doing. Some other significant appointments relate to the ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation, and we have ZIZ fully represented here. So they know this news long before me. But Mr. Douglas Watley will serve as chairman of that corporation, and he will be ably assisted by Mrs. Avanis Thompson as deputy chair. The Development and Control and Planning Board is a board with 13 members. 10 of them are stipulated by law to come from the public sector. The Director of Public Works, for example, the Chief Water Engineer. I think on the last board we had the fire, but the Commissioner is also stipulated to be a member of that particular board. You can't do much about any of those save to abide by the law. We had an option to name 3 persons to complement that number stipulated from the public sector. And we have chosen as the 3 options Mr. Calvin Pemberton. He's an architect, a former director of public works, and a very competent young professional in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have chosen Mr. Fitzgerald Boncamper, and we have chosen, represent industry and commerce, etc., Ronald Fish, who is somebody who have had tremendous experience in development in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have determined that having regard to some matters of litigations which have arisen, that we will assign to that board one of the Crown Counsel from the Office of the Attorney General to ensure that the legal matters are given due account as the technicians deal with other matters of which they are more familiar. The National Insurance Board, we have named Mr. Howard Richardson, businessman. to serve as the chair of that particular entity. Fuller particulars relating to these and all of the boards, some of which have been previously announced, will be available in the official gazette. Now we are nearing the hurricane season, June to November, traditional season for the hurricane. And we therefore want to begin and to alert the national community that it is not too early to commence preparation for the start of the 2015 Atlantic hurricane season. The Disaster Mitigation Committee and its various subcommittees are currently being finalized. Concurrently, assessments are on the way regarding the state of readiness of our designated shelters and key service and security agencies such as law enforcement, health institutions, mobilization and public awareness, hurricane preparedness are all in progress. Our 2015 hurricane preparedness efforts will also be enhanced this year by the fortuitous hosting of the Trade Winds Phase 1 exercise, focused on humanitarian assistance. This component of the Trade Winds initiative in St. Kitts is scheduled for May 31st to 9 June 2015. Its objectives include building capacity and disaster recovery competence through improved capabilities to handle relief efforts at the local level. I want to acknowledge Mr. Comrie, Major Comrie, who is here, and he heads the Coast Guard element of the Defense Force, or should I say Coast Guard unit. But in any event, he has been providing the leadership with respect to the coordination of the Trade Winds exercise in St. Kitts and Nevis. When we get to questions, if there are any in relation to Trade Winds, I am sure between the Lieutenant Colonel and Major Comrie that you'll be able to have your question answered. But this is an important regional exercise that will bring a significant number of military and other support personnel on to St. Kitts and Nevis. Finally, a word of encouragement with respect to the students who are now pursuing their test of standards. We have just over 3,000 students who are due to sit or to write the tests of standards in our primary schools. And as they do so, we want to admonish them to do their best to prepare for these key placement examinations. We want the parents and guardians and all in the community to advise and admonish them that a good education is a sure path to preferred opportunities and a far better alternative than living a life of crime, which too many of our young people are now choosing. In this regard, it is never too early to start getting them on the right track. And indeed, this morning in the discussions on crime, it was the Assistant Commissioner Quealy who says this crime fighting exercise has to be a fight taken on by all in society. It cannot be left exclusively to the police. Parenting become important. And the way in which we mold and we bring them up will certainly influence how and what they become in the future. And so we are urging the parents at this critical time, their formative years, to inculcate the best of values, application, consistency of effort, due care and attention to their schoolwork. We know that during this time, for many parents, it is a stressful period. But that is part of the challenge of parenthood. And ultimately, when our children succeed and do well, they bring joy and pleasure to the families and to their schools and their community. And that is what we want and expect of them. So again, I want to encourage the parents not to be passive at this critical point in their life and in the future development, because the future of the child depends on what happens today. Today we have an opportunity by observation, by caring, by instruction, and by example to ensure that this batch 2015 of young people taking the test of standards will be and could be the best batch to have participated. So I want to wish them well. And on the note of wishing well, let me equally extend best wishes for speedy recovery to a young chap who, Mr. Johnson, who had been attached to Her Majesty's prison and who had been serving very well, who in fact is now hospitalized as a result of an unfortunate fire which took place at Her Majesty's prison. Having visited him and his family on Saturday, I say publicly what I said privately to them. They would have the fullest possible support of the government, and our thoughts and our prayers will be with them during this difficult period. I want equally to extend best wishes to the Governor of the Central Bank, Mr. Dwight Venner, who has been hospitalized for some period of time. And again, equally, our thoughts and our prayers are with him. He too I visited on Saturday. But to all those, wherever they are at this moment, who are burdened and depressed and are under siege and ill in any way, this government will stand with you and for you. And whatever we can do individually as members of the cabinet and collectively as a government, we will certainly do for you, because we are committed, we are wedded to the belief that this government will work and must work for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And as we work, the people will reap the rewards. As we work, we ask the people to continue to pray, because by and large, we believe, at the very least, I believe, this was a praying election. And I thank those who prayed yonder, like Nurse Garnett and many others, Melvina Chapman in Texas, and all these people who formed prayer groups to ensure that the country could be ushered into a new moment, a new time, and have this fresh start, which our detractors would wish that we do not enjoy. I say that the government is at work, and it is not every comment that they will make we will enjoin them, because they are the leaders of yesterday. The country has moved on. We are moving forward, focused on the people's agenda. And so we will not be engaged with them in some of the conversations which the people have already determined on the 16th of February 2015. So to God be the glory. Again, I thank all those who rendered support to the Team Unity effort. And even now, while we are in government, they have had the good sense, the patriotism, the love of country to come, provide constructive support, and often too constructive criticism. For we are not perfect, and we will not pretend to be. But we will always be sensitive to the concerns of the majority of the people. And we will do what we think is right, having thought through these things and having prayed about them.